for details.
Welcome back. Does your child struggle in social situations, and does it go beyond typical shyness? Here to share some thoughts on what could be behind a child's weak social skills is Dr. Robert Reynolds of the Reynolds Clinic. Welcome, doctor.
Good to see you, Carol.
So it's interesting you call it a weak skill. That makes us maybe more hopeful that if your child is having difficulty, either being too shy or inappropriate, it's a skill set that can be taught?
It can. People who have these social skills deficits, is what I call them, can be helped and can be helped significantly. And one of the reasons why I shy away from the use of the word autism is because too often we think about that as almost a virtually untreatable condition.
Right.
And so many of the children that I see in my clinic have conditions in which they have weakly or poorly developed social skills, but can actually be significantly helped if they're given that opportunity.
Right, and there's such a large spectrum. So we've got children with weak social skills. Some of the things are saying Asperger's syndrome, high-functioning autism, or just nonverbal learning disabilities, or another thing that parents are often told, pervasive developmental disorder, which is on the spectrum, but it could mean that your child goes to normal classes, does normal things, but there's some things they need to work on.
More often than not, that's the case.
Okay.
And so the reason I've given you those terms is because they seem to be much more useful to me and more descriptive in terms of what these children are struggling with. Unfortunately, we have lumped them all together under the autism spectrum diagnosis, but I don't think that's particularly helpful, and I think we've taken a step back, actually, by doing so.
Better just to treat the individual issues. So first up is for a parent, signs to look for. And you've got some of those for us. Has trouble making friends, has difficulty making eye contact, gets made fun of at school, fails to grasp humor, clumsy, doesn't like sports, gets obsessed with unusual interests, difficulty with emotions, strong reactions to smells or touch. That can be a sensory issue.
Yes, and oftentimes they are what we call sensory sensitive to tags on their clothing, oftentimes wanting to have them cut off. But in addition to the list that you're reading, they also get very fixated on certain areas and certain ideas. They have a difficult time transitioning from one train of thought to another. They can get very upset when they're asked to do that, upset so much that they can behaviorally melt down, and people unfortunately don't understand that and misdiagnose them as oppositional defiant disorder or having severe emotional issues, when in fact the underlying issue is that they have one of these social skills deficits.
So let's talk about some things you can do to treat them. I mean, this could be like, let's say your child just loves playing basketball to the point that they're obsessed with it, and you're like, but you can't play basketball, we need to go do something else now. And they might completely melt down and spend the next 20 minutes getting upset that they can't do what they want.
Or they will harass the parent or whoever it is with question after question. Why can't I? Why can't I do this? But I want to do this. Why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? And can actually drive people crazy that way, and unfortunately get punished for that, but they can't control it.
All right, so if you're going to accept that this is an issue, then there are treatments, in school-based treatments specifically, special education services, some social skills groups, occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical activities.
All of these things are meant to help the child perform, act in a more normal fashion. Kara, don't get me wrong, they're often going to look different no matter how much help they get. But the sooner that we get the help and the better the help that they get, the more adaptive they're going to be and the more productive their lives will be.
And this is right as your parent. You can ask your school, say, I need this help. These are things that 504 plans, IEPs, you can get this.
Exactly right, and parents should ask for it. And all of those abilities schools have to deliver. They can do all of those things and oftentimes do.
Other options, and we've only got a little bit of time left, but the other options, medications, sometimes helpful, but you say sometimes makes it worse. Or some of the counseling that you do, role modeling, interaction, self-advocacy, videotaping.
Well, I'm really hot on the videotaping issue right now, because I have found that when you videotape, for example, social skills interactions in which the child is actually participating and can see himself, he is more able then to adjust his behavior, because you can show him on the video and say, now, how do you think that the person that you're talking to is responding when you make a face like that?
So go ahead and just videotape an interaction and show it to him.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, if you want to learn more, there's obviously more to this, but there's some really great research that the Reynolds Clinic is doing, and Dr. Reynolds is holding a free seminar where you can come and learn about his treatment approaches for ADHD or any of these spectrum disorders. It's set for Wednesday evening, June 15th, starting at 6:30 at the Middletown facility, and if the weekend works better for your schedule, he also has a seminar Saturday morning, June 18th, starting at 9 a.m. To register, just head to reynoldsclinic.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Kara. Good to see you.
Scott?
All right, coming up.